Okay. All right. Well, good to see everyone, sort of, kind of. And always good to start camp and get into the process of this a little bit different this year. Um, a lot of things that from a logistical and rules standpoint, didn't fall into place until just about a week ago. And so we've tried to move quickly to accommodate, um, everything that's been put in front of us. Number one thing is safety for everybody involved, players, staff, the organization, all our support people, and so forth. So, um, biggest thing is to try to start the season healthy, and that means healthy in a safe environment, with all the required testing and so forth that we've been through. And I think the players have done a great job of responding to that so far. And both, in the recent week and in the previous weeks and months before that, that overall has been, really a very good thing for us throughout the entire spring. And organizationally, Robert and Kraft family has responded with facility upgrades, really at the highest level to, put ourselves in the safest environment we can create, on all different sorts of levels. And, we'll use as much distancing as we can and other safety protocols that are in place, some of which I think are, beyond requirements. In some cases, well beyond the requirements. It's because we feel like that's the most important thing and the right thing to do. So um, that's really number one on the priority. As of Monday, we'll be moving into a kind of the phase one of our off-season program. I feel like this is a little bit of a combination between March, when we sign our free agents, and even though we've talked with them and met with them virtually, we still, some of them haven't, we haven't had a face-to-face in-person meeting, and also kind of a combination of rookie minicamp, first minicamp after the draft, where the rookies come in and start to join the veterans. So this is going to be a little bit of a combination of that. We have a break-in period here, where the players can begin to train and acclimate themselves to conditioning and so forth, getting ready for the football season, and that'll gradually ramp up into training camp. But for a while here, we're, I'd say, again, very much in a start of the off-season program, rookie mini camp type of state, and we'll move through that at the pace that we can, and then in a couple of weeks, close to a couple of weeks, I'd say that we'll actually be in training camp. So um, that's what it is. And we're prepared for that. The players have done an excellent job of coming back, virtually, of course, to this point, but coming back and staying on top of a lot of the information we gave them in the spring. And I think we'll be able to move forward when we get the opportunity on the field, football wise. Not training, that'll start this week, but from a football standpoint, it'll be a little while here, but I think we'll be ready to go when it's time to kick in. So really no no evaluations of really much of anything. I think this is again a period that we get the players ready to go, both schematically, terminology, all that, physically with our training, and then once we get out on the field, then we'll start to see how it's coming together. So, but right now, that's that's in the future, but it's not in the near future. So, um, So it's kind of the update for now.
We have a lot of people that want to ask questions. I'm going to apologize in advance. We're going to limit this to about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll start with Phil Perry, followed by Mike Reese. Go ahead, Phil.
Thanks, Stacy. Bill, I just wanted to ask you, you had 6 players who decided to opt out earlier this week for the 2020 season. What was your reaction to that when you heard the news that those players were deciding not to play?
Yeah, well, I respect all of them, and I respect all the players on our team. We all have to make decisions, and I talked to those guys, and they explained their situation, and they had to make the decision that was best for them, and I totally respect and support it 100%.
It sounds like, Bill, there's going to be an opportunity for players to continue to make a decision one way or another over the course of the next week. Are you anticipating more players deciding to opt out, or are you thinking that the players you have now will be the ones that you're moving into the season with?
Yeah, well, again, Phil, I think everybody's got to make their own individual decisions on that, and they have to weigh their own situation. Each one of us is unique, and we all have different lives, situations, families, environments, and so forth and so on. So there's no two situations that are the same. Everybody will have to make their own decision on that, and I have no way of my crystal ball is kind of cloudy right now, so I have no idea what will happen along those lines. I think everybody in the league, every team in the league, every player, every coach, everybody in the league's involved in that, to some degree. And so we'll just have to see how it turns out.
Thanks, Bill.
Next question is Mike Reese, followed by Mike Petraglia.
Hey, Bill, I think the question everyone's curious about this offseason is that when you were sitting on that bench in Connecticut filming that commercial, what was the sandwich?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of their super dupers or whatever. But yeah, I haven't ever done anything like that. And I think we mentioned it on the BBF website, but it's kind of a difficult environment to raise funds now for charities, foundations, and so forth for a number of reasons. And this is an opportunity to spend a day to be able to fund the initiatives that we have in the foundation for student athletes and the various sports programs that are, I would say, in a little tougher shape than maybe what they normally are, financially from an opportunity standpoint. So appreciate the opportunity that Subway gave me, gave the foundation, the support that they gave us, and it was a fun commercial to do. And everybody loves sandwiches, so hopefully I'll be okay with it.
And
I know I'm going to get killed in the rookie shows on this. I know that's going to happen, but I'll just have to swallow it.
on a team note, I was curious what appealed to you to bring Cam Newton to the team, and at this time of year, in the past couple decades, there hasn't been too much of a question as to who will play quarterback for you. How are you approaching that specific spot this year?
Yeah, well, I think that spot's the same as all the other spots on the team. We got a long way to go, and we'll see how things turn out. I can't control how players perform. That's up to them. We'll give everybody an opportunity, and see what happens. So I don't know.
Specific to Cam, what appealed to you with him just to bring him aboard?
Yeah, well, things worked out. We spent quite a bit of time with Cam, and he spent quite a bit of time with us. I think it was some mutual interest, and we spent quite a bit of number of different people and number of different conversations, and I think just trying to see how the fit would be, and it was very positive on our end, and I'm glad it worked out.
Mike Petraglia, followed by Mike Giardi. Go ahead, Mike.
Bill, and I'm going to pull a page out of the Mike Reese playbook here and ask you about the face covering. If there's any story behind that, looks like it's nautical or a lighthouse of some sort.
Oh, it's well, one of the Sinkity Gators. Yeah.
Nice. All right. And with that out of the way, I wanted to ask you about the lack of preseason games and how that is going to provide a distinct challenge for you and the staff, because obviously in the past you've used those games to help evaluate game ready players. You don't have that this year.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll just have to take advantage of our practice opportunities and create as much combination of competition to evaluate the players and also situations to get our players ready to play in regular season games, and combine those things as we go forward. So it'll be a little different setup, but that's Mike, that's what college teams do every year. I think ever since the beginning of college football back in, well, I don't know about all the way back when Rutgers started in the 1870s, but that's the way it's been. You go to camp for 3 weeks, and then you start the season, and there are no preseason games, and you evaluate your team and you get ready to play, and that's what all college football teams do. And so I don't think it's anything that's revolutionary here. This is just, we haven't done it that way in a National Football League for a while, but and I certainly haven't done it that way. I haven't coached in college, but as a college player and growing up around college programs, I can remember those periods of time leading up to the start of the season, and teams had their scrimmages, or whatever you want to call them, and ways to prepare their team, and at the same time evaluate the players. And it's a process that certainly goes into the early part of the season, and that's. But this is just football. That's all. I don't really see it any differently.
Mike Giardi, followed by Megan O'Brien.
Afternoon, Bill. I'm just curious, because of the nature of this offseason and not being able to actually get on the field, did that also help sort of direct you in Cam's vicinity and sort of continue those conversations, because what his resume is and how long he's been in the league and how long he's done it at a relatively high level?
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't that way, so I don't know. I don't know if it had been differently, if it would have happened differently. I don't know. I don't see why it would have, but I'm not sure.
Did it make it more difficult to in particular with Jarrett, to evaluate where Jarrett is after his first year, because again, there are 400 to 500 reps in the offseason that got missed?
Yeah, well, everybody missed those. So, that's what it is. It's the same for everybody, and that's the way it went this year, and it's the way it went in 2011. Some years are different than other years, and there's nothing we can do about that. We can't change it, so we'll just try to make the most out of every opportunity that we get going forward. That's all we can do. And the meetings were beneficial for all of us, for the players and the staff, and we have a couple new staff members, but just kind of bringing things together. I felt like we did what we could do. We got a lot out of the opportunities that we had. They were different than being able to go on the field and practice, no question about that. But again, that's what it was. So we try to take advantage of that, and we'll continue to do that. When we get opportunities, we'll try to use them the best we can.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Next question, Megan O'Brien.
Thanks so much, Stacy. Coach, you mentioned new additions to the coaching staff, and one of those, Troy Brown, was announced that he will be joining Ivan Fears as one of the running backs coaches this season. What went into the decision to move Troy Brown over to work with the running backs?
Well, Troy spent the year with us last year, and of course has a tremendous amount of experience here, and he'll continue to work with other positions as well, the returners and slot receivers, and but I think just given the conversations I had with Troy, he's very eager. He has a very good football. He's a very instinctive football player and coach, and I think that he was always great with the ball in his hands as a runner. He was obviously a great receiver, and I think that's a big part of every running back's job. And again, he was a strong player in the kicking game as well. So it was an opportunity for him to to be involved with a little bit of a different groups. We've moved a couple coaches around this year that I think just expanding their coaching at different positions, coaching different players, helps them become better all around coaches. And Cole was with the running backs last year, and this year we work with the offensive line. Stephen was with the safeties, and I'll be with the outside linebacker. So there's, I think a lot of benefit of that. Josh, Matt, Patricia, we can go on and on about all the coaches that have, switched spots around here. But I think Troy, has done a great job with them, and he'll certainly be involved in other things besides that, besides just the running backs.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Megan.
Next question, Max Rullo, followed by Henry McKinnon.
Hey, Bill. So I just wanted to ask about at the moment, as far as we know, you haven't had any players have to go on COVID-19 reserve list, but those players who eventually do, will they have the opportunity to continue to stay involved remotely with meetings and to the best of their ability, just to, even when they're not necessarily in the building with you guys?
Yeah, so there are different, there are protocols on that. And again, when you say test positive, that there are a lot of different levels of that and a lot of different circumstances and so forth, and how long that lasts and what the symptoms are and so forth and so on. So in any case, we'll follow the protocols, and however the players can be involved, certainly we'll attend to them and help them work through whatever situation they're in, and we'll treat it just like any other injury, if you will, or if the player gets sick during the season, it's a similar type of thing. What we do with them, how we try to get them back to full health and maintain whatever level of fitness and mental, staying on top of the game mentally that we can. So we'll take it on a case by case basis, and I'd say we have a general plan for how we want to handle it, but again, each situation is different, and each player is different, and sometimes the positions and other circumstances are different, where they're living and so forth. So we've talked about a number of scenarios, and I think that whatever happens will fall into one of the ones that we've talked about, but we're not there yet, fortunately.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, you're welcome.
Just a couple of final questions to Henry McKenna and Andrew Callahan.
Thank you, Stacy, and hello, Bill.
How you doing?
Good to hear from you. So you were saying that you'll give everybody a chance at the quarterback position, so it's sort of an open competition, which, as Mike Reese noted, very different from previous years. So how do you, as a coaching staff, begin to build and install a playbook? Because obviously you want to make sure that playbook highlights your quarterback's strengths, and you're not sure who that quarterback will be yet.
Yeah, and again, I think that's, rather than answer a specific question about a specific position, it's really the same for all positions. You set up a general structure that you implement. Everybody needs to learn certain fundamentals, certain basics. And every player, no matter how long he's played, whether he's played 2 years or 20 years, there's still a basic progression to training camp at that player's position. And so that's really what we're going to do. That's where we're going to start. And that's, in my opinion, what needs to be done, regardless of who the player is, what position he plays. Again, whether he's been here for 10 years or whether he's been here this is his first year. There's still, a certain process that we have to go through, and there are certain fundamentals and basics in our offensive, defensive, and special team systems that need to be taught. And it would be very hard for any player to, you know, function well without doing those. So I don't think you start off in training camp with your football team, you know, putting in a triple reverse and a double reverse pass and, you know, things like that that might highlight a particular player or that type of thing. Um, you know, those are the kind of things that come down the road a little bit. In order to be a good football team, you need to be good fundamentally. You need to be sound. Everybody needs to be able to execute basic assignments, techniques, and make basic adjustments, and those transcend to everybody in every unit. I don't think there's any way around that. So that's what we've always done. That's what we continue to do. I think that's the way to do it. We've had, you know, decent amount of success doing it that way, and I just don't see it happening any differently.
And the last two questions, Andrew Callahan and Doug Kide.
Thank you, Stacy, and thanks, Bill, for taking the time here today. Just
Sure.
two quick ones for me. Are you aware of any players who tested positive today?
Yeah, and again, I appreciate the question, but I hope you can respect the fact that, you know, legally, by, you know, state and federal law, we're not allowed to talk about that. So I'm not going to answer that question, you know, today or any other day. I'm just simply not permitted to do that. So that's, you know, that's the way it is. Now, if an individual player wants to talk about his medical situation, then that's something else. But that's not something that I'm permitted to do, and so I'm not going to do it.
Okay. The next one was, what factors led you to believe that keeping 80 players for camp was better than 90 and doing the split squad, and that was what was best for the team?
Yeah, well, you have two options. If you keep 90, you have to split the team into two different groups, and if you keep 80, you don't. And then everybody's going to have to go to 80 on um, August 16th. There's probably going to be other teams that'll go to 80. I would say on Monday, you know, tomorrow or Sunday or Monday. So those are kind of our options, was to keep the team together now, or keep them apart and have separate virtual meetings and then bring them together at the start of this week, or continue to keep them apart and bring them all together on the 16th when the rosters, the mandatory cut down to 80 occurs. So we felt like this is the best option for our team, so that's why we did it.
Last question, Doug Kide.
Hey, Bill. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm fine. How about you?
Doing pretty well. It's
All right.
been a nice summer, but you guys brought aboard Jed Fish, obviously his quarterbacks coach. What was the connection there? And how did you kind of get to know him?
Yeah, well, Jed, you know, I think a lot of our staff members knew Jed, and you know, I've known Jed for a number of years. And of course, he, you know, grew up in New Jersey, and obviously I'm a lot older than he is, but you know, few connections back there in New Jersey when I was with the Giants. But you know, he's been in a number of different places, both professionally and collegiately, and you know, we've talked about players that he's coached, or you know, even when he was at Jacksonville and so forth. So you know, Jed's got a lot of experience, you know, on the offensive side of the ball, as quarterbacks, coordinator, play caller, you know, receivers, skill positions. So you know, I think his experience and overall, you know, coaching experience, knowledge of being, you know, position coach, coordinator, even his interim head coach experience there at UCLA, you know, he just brings a lot of experience and you know, wisdom to our staff, and I think that's, again, a number of our other coaches also have, you know, have interacted with Jed through the years. So he's made a good transition. I'm glad we have him. He's done a great job of, you know, acclimating himself, bringing in some new ideas, but at the same time, going back to what I said initially, you know, learning the fundamentals and foundation that, you know, our team and specifically our offense is built on, and before we start, adding things to it, we have to understand what we need to do from a fundamental standpoint, and that's he's done an excellent job of doing that and kind of merging those two together. So look forward to working with him this year. I mean, he's been here, but none of us have really had a chance to work together very much. So looking forward to that.
Thanks.
Great. Well, I appreciate everyone, and we'll talk again soon. All right. Stay safe and stay healthy. Have a good day.
So much, Coach, and I apologize to those that didn't get to ask questions. We'll try to get to you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stace. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.